It was a dark night in 1962. Deep in the Atlantic Ocean, a Soviet submarine was trapped. Above, American destroyers. Below, a silent metal coffin. Inside, the temperature had reached 50 degrees Celsius, and the crew's oxygen levels were running out. The crew's faces were pale, their breathing labored. And at that moment, if an order had been given, nuclear war would have begun. Only one man could stop that decision. His name was Vasily Arkhipov. The name of the submarine they were in was B-59. B-59 had set sail from the Black Sea and secretly positioned itself near Cuba. The world held its breath due to the Cuban Missile Crisis. A single spark could turn the entire planet into a battlefield. But no one knew what was happening beneath the sea. The Americans detected the submarine's location and began using signal flares to force it to surface. These bombs were not explosive, but those inside the submarine thought they were a real attack. Communication was completely cut off. They had no idea what was happening in the outside world. Perhaps the war had already begun, but they had no way of knowing. It was so hot inside the submarine that it felt like hell. The thermometers showed unbearable temperatures. The water cooling system had failed. The electricity was going out. Some soldiers were fainting, others were trying to breathe with their shirts off. The smell of gasoline and carbon dioxide hung in the air. And inside that closed metal tube, everyone feared one thing: that America had made the first move and the war had begun. But the B-59 carried a weapon 6 meters long, more powerful than even the Hiroshima bomb, the nuclear torpedo T-5. Firing this torpedo would destroy an American ship, and America's retaliation would start a full-scale nuclear war. The world would perhaps be plunged into an irreversible darkness. To make this decision, the three commanders had to vote unanimously. Captain Valentin Savitsky and political commissar Ivan Maslenikov were shouting, "Fire!" because, in their view, America had already attacked. It was more honorable to respond to fire with fire than to wait to die. But the third person was silent. Vasily Arkhipov, the submarine's second in command. His hair was plastered to his forehead with sweat. His face was as white as a sheet, but his eyes still conveyed calm and logic. The other two were shouting, pounding their fists on the table, angrily ranting, "Fire! The war has begun!" Arkhipov took a slow breath. "No," he said. "This is not an attack. It's a signal bomb. They're trying to force us to surface." The captain went mad. "How do you know that?" he shouted. "Maybe the war has already started." Arkhipov replied quietly, "If the war has started, you can't solve it with a torpedo." At that moment, silence fell in the submarine. Only the strained hum of the engines could be heard. The debate lasted for hours. Some soldiers had nervous breakdowns, others collapsed from lack of air. But Arkhipov was determined. "We are not using nuclear weapons," he said. "We are surfacing." He was the only one who changed the rules of the game. Arkhipov broke the chain of command. The nuclear torpedo was not launched, and the submarine surfaced. When the American ships saw that he was not pursuing an attack, they did not open fire. And a few hours later, the world learned that war had not begun. A world war had been prevented simply by one man staying calm. Just like Petrov, the incident remained secret for years. No one knew what Arkhipov had done. He retired like an ordinary soldier. His salary was low. His name did not even appear in books. Years later, when the documents of the incident were opened, historians agreed on one sentence: if it weren't for this man, the world would be a different place today. Yes, Vasily Arkhipov may not have been known to anyone, but one night he held the fate of the world in his hands. Those hands did not pull the trigger. With his calmness, patience, and logic, he saved billions of people on Earth. He never claimed to be a hero. but history does not forget its silent heroes. Thank you once again, Arkhipov.